The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Alejandra Jimenez, or Jimenez. I don't want no problems. Tested positive for a banned substance with her A sample, and now she's going to have to provide a B sample. And Franchon Crews-Dezurn took to the internet to post about it. And then Alejandra Jimenez posted her results on IG. And then Franchon Crews-Dezurn posted her results on IG and said basically, F that hair, I want the belts. And so my question is, what is your reaction to Alejandra Jimenez testing positive for a banned substance? And then what do you think should happen with the belts? So,
ha! Told y'all. So now, all you ladies out there, they got the same haircut as me. Y'all can stop rolling y'all eyes at me when y'all see me. Because I was telling you, I was right. Something was wrong. Give Dezurn back her belts. Give her back her belts. Because I'm sick of it, okay? Y'all came out here and y'all was sitting here trying to crucify me for my beliefs. And I was right. And it hurts me that I was right. You know what I'm saying? Give Dezurn back her belts. Forget fighting again. Forget her having to go fight to somebody else. Give her back her belts because she deserves them because they were stolen from her unfairly.
The views of Trill do not reflect Boxing Bros as a whole.
Hey, that's all I'm saying. People would treat me messed up.
I would say this. The spirit of Trill I agree with. You know what I mean? The last sentence I was rocking with where you were saying, give those belts back to Dezurn. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say this is because we all
What about the L?
That should be erased.
Yeah, that should be erased. That should be erased. Because I'm being honest, when I watched that fight, I was like, my goodness. it literally, be honest, it looked like I was watching a domestic violence altercation. It was just too one-sided. It wasn't like a one-sided fight, but the mass of the impact and the power of each punch that Jimenez was carrying was just unfair. And I was just like, my goodness. The whole time I was watching, I was like, Clarissa better not fight this one because this is just too much, you know. And so, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised about, you know, the test, the results of the test. I am curious though if they could do a chromosome test. I would just like to know, you know, once and for all. You know what I mean? Because
they say she gave birth.
Yeah.
To what? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I just need to know. You know what I mean? Every morning I give birth on a tour style.
She gave birth to a new style.
To a new style.
I give birth to a number 2 every day. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just saying, you know, like I would just like to know. You know what I mean?
Y'all out of control.
I'm just saying, hey, I wasn't trying to be like Trill.
You supposed to be my man,
listen, with the Jimenez situation, man, listen, Trill get a pass for me. Trill get a pass for me because what Trill's is thinking, I'm pretty sure all other boxing fans were all thinking the same thing. Like, for real, you know?
Yo,
it's just, I'm just being honest. Like,
to elaborate what G was saying too, watching that fight again, yo, like, I don't even think Dezurn will be the same fighter again.
Moving forward, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's just not fair, you know? And
she really fought her heart out.
I'm shocked, man. Clarissa talking about she still want to fight this one. I'm like, nah, don't do it.
Shout out to Clarissa. Clarissa wanted some get back for the women in the sport.
Make sure it's clean get back. You know what I mean?
I think that's something.
And that's another thing too.
I have.
How come they didn't test her before the fight? You know, like I don't know.
Because of the money.
All the fighters
it costs like $50,000. Shout out to the fan in our comment section who put this up. But VADA testing costs like $30,000 to $50,000, and the women don't make that much money. So it's like at a huge expense. They don't even want to
pay these women their money. Pay these women the money that they deserve, and do the right proper testing because these women can get hurt and injured in there also. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna argue the pay situation.
I mean, you pay based on what you generate, but at least pay for VADA testing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would say this, that all the governing bodies, they should at least supplement or subsidize, the VADA testing for these ladies, if in fact they're not generating the amount that their male counterparts are generating. Because it is unfair if you're talking about they have to pay that much for random VADA testing. Like, what? Like, that's crazy. But watching that, I was like, oh my goodness.
And the commission's supposed to be there to protect the fighters.
Yeah, they got to do something because it's just not fair to these female fighters.
I'm just done with go ahead. For me, there's a number of things. You said you want them to do a chromosome test. I say they must. And here's why. There could be some legal ramifications. And here's why. When I sign for a fight, I sign to the rules, terms, and conditions of the fight. And when you play a contact sport, say I play football, and I agree to all the contacts within the scope of the game. So tackling me, anything involved with a tackle. If you punch me in the face, that's not a part of the game. That's an assault and battery. You don't get a defense for that, because whenever someone hits someone in football, it's an assault and battery. But there's a defense called consent. You consent to all assault and battery within the scope of the game. Punching someone in the face, as you know, if I just walked outside and punched someone in the face, that's an assault and battery, right? But if it's a boxing match, official boxing match, then we consented to
Queensberry rules.
Yes, of the sport. And so everything within the scope of the sport is okay. So in a boxing match, if someone kicks someone, that's an assault and battery. That's a charge, right? When Andre Durrell's uncle threw that hook on Uzgatiki, right?
That perfect hook.
One of them in the Mayweather club I saw, he was like, I was mad. I thought he had more power in the hook. But the technique was perfect. When you do something outside of the scope, it's assault and battery. So my point is, Franchon Crews-Dezurn agreed to fight another woman. She agreed to fight another woman. She agreed to get punched in the face by another woman. Now, if there are questions about the gender of this person, you must. Because at this point, it changes the entire game. If Franchon Crews-Dezurn was in the ring fighting a man, she didn't sign for that. She didn't agree to let a man punch her in the face for 10 rounds. That's assault and battery, amongst a lot of other things. So I do think that chromosome test must be done, in addition to the fact that this person is still a boxer. Alejandra Jimenez is still a boxer. Still can get fights. Clarissa's talking about fighting her now. We need that test. And we're not trying to single out anybody. We're trying to make sure that this is a level playing field. We're trying to protect women who are brave enough to get in the ring and fight. If you're going to just let things happen and just let women fight men then, and just throw it all out, then why do we even have a women's boxing division? It should be mandatory chromosome testing for here on out, mandatory VADA testing from here on out. No debates about it.
Listen, and for everybody that's making a big deal about everything, first of all, I want to just put it out there that nobody here on Boxing Bros is homophobic or transphobic. We just believe in fair fighting and fair play. It ain't about it is. It's about what's right and what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? People are losing their lives in this sport. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should have more of an advantage than somebody else from cheating. Okay? It's right or wrong. Has nothing to do about pacifier and being sensitive. It's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? People are losing their lives. So let's clean it up. That's all I have to say about that.
Jimenez literally pushed the wig back. Yeah. Like, think about that. That was crazy. I'm just saying.
Well, for me, I think about this, and I think that that's correct. But you have to know the risk you're taking. Assumption of risk. So I have to know I'm entering certain danger. And if I agree to it, fine. So what I mean by that is not only the fact that if this is a transgendered man that Franchon Crews is about to fight, Franchon Crews-Dezurn deserves to know that up front.
Exactly.
Oh, transgender woman.
Mm-hmm.
No. Transgender woman would be a man who's transitioning into a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what we're saying is there's some theories out there that Alejandra Jimenez is a woman transitioning into becoming a man.
Right.
So what I'm saying is if that theory is true, right, and Franchon Crews-Dezurn is about to enter into a fight with a transgendered man, she should know that risk. She should know the risk she's taking before she steps in the ring. And if she agrees to sign, then she consents. But if you withhold that risk from her, now I think there's a problem. Now I think there's danger. And now I think there's lawsuits.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Because she agreed to fight another woman. If she's taking hormone therapy and that wasn't disclosed, she didn't know the assumption of risk by putting her life on the line in the ring. That's a problem. That's what I care about. Mm-hmm. So I've already said this before on Boxing Bros, and you can check this out. I said Clarissa Shields should fight a man and beat one. Not like one of the upper echelons, but, one of those guys around sparring circles who everyone's like, yeah, she'll probably cook him and to just beat him because I think it'll be a huge spectacle and it'll be great for women's empowerment. So I say she should fight a man. If I'm saying that I believe a woman can beat a man and should fight a man, I'm not saying that. Because clearly I would watch that fight. I would support that fight. My point is Clarissa Shields would know she's fighting a man before the fight even started. When she signed the contract, she knows the assumption of risk. She knows what she's facing. When you sneak that up on someone, when someone doesn't know, and you don't do your due diligence to make sure this fight is what you say it is, that's when I worry. That's when I'm afraid. That's when I'm worried about the health of the fighter. That's when I'm afraid that someone could die in the ring.
Exactly.
Because I know me, I know my strength, I know my physical abilities, and I know women who may be in my weight class and whatnot. And I just know when it wouldn't be right. And we can sit here and act like there's not a difference, but clearly the divisions exist for a reason. Clearly they exist for a reason.
But I think, and this is not just in boxing, right? But just athletics, I don't think has caught up to the gender versus sex debate, and so it's like, is it women's boxing or is it female boxing? You see what I'm saying? Because there's a clear distinction. Because if G decides now that I identify as she, her, hers, and I want to go into women's boxing just because I can't compete with the fellas, who is to say that I'm not a woman? You get what I'm saying? And then so like, how do you protect the women or the female boxers, from G, who's now a trans woman going in to clean out.
We'll call you
Jella coming in to clear out the woman, the entire division. And that's why I'm like, and it's not just in boxing. It's like it's in every sport. So it's clearly there has to be.
Do I need to get a disclaimer
involved
before you respond?
Please.
The views of Trill do not reflect the Boxing Bros. All right. As a whole.
This right here is causing too much. This is too much. It comes to what's right and what's wrong. G. Mm-hmm. You're still a man, right? You're still a man. Even if your body type and all that, your body muscle is still a man. There's no reason why you should.
Well, politically, I'm still a male.
Male. You're still a male.
Still a male. Yes.
We already put my disclaimer in, right? Yeah.
The views of Trill do not
still,
reflect
at the end of the
Boxing Bros as a
day,
whole.
you're
This is
still
Trill
a
on
man.
his on the
You know what I'm saying? You still have the muscle mass of a man. Now you just because you say you're a woman and you going in there, you shouldn't be able to compete with other women. This is not fair. If you're taking pills and hormones to make you stronger and give you strength of a man, you should not have. This is just right and wrong. It has nothing to do with protecting people's feelings. We're trying to protect somebody's life. I don't care about protecting your feelings. I care about protecting another person's life. This is getting out of control. It's common sense here. You know what I'm saying? I am not homophobic. I'm not transphobic. I don't care if you're gay. If you have a wonderful jab, I'm going to say you have an amazing jab. If you're knocking people out, I'm going to call you the most devastating fighter. But if you're cheating, I'm going to say that you're cheating. If you're cheating, you're cheating. I done seen too many people lose their life in this ring, in this sport that I love so much, just because we want to protect a group of people's feelings. We need to stop this. With everything got to go, we have to have the proper testing to protect the other fighters from people that are cheating. Like if you feel that you want to be, then go and compete with other men then. That's how I feel. You want to transition into being a man, you want to take hormone pills and steroids and have the strength of a man, then you go and compete against other men. What's right is right. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick. This poor girl, if you've seen her, like she was fighting for her life in there. I'm sure that she's not going to be the same again after fighting again. Go back and watch that fight. She was fighting for her life in that fight. And we're sitting here talking about what's fair and what's this, and we can't say this and we can't say that. No! It's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. What we do, we tell everybody, we got to stop being sensitive, because while we're being sensitive and caring about what we're saying, people are losing their life. It's ridiculous, man.
So, when I watched the fight, it definitely looked like Franchon Crews-Dezurn was extremely hurt. She seemed outmatched in a way that she didn't seem when she fought Carissa Shields, which is the best women's fighter, hands down at the moment. It's practically unanimous when you speak to people, and she also hit Alejandra Jimenez with shots that would normally just get some type of reaction from other women, and Jimenez just walked through them like they were nothing. And so there were a number of things. Like I said, weight loss from 236 pounds down to 168. The look of her appearance, because I did see other pictures where I said she looked like when she was heavy set, she looked like she had like more estrogen, and then her skin changed, like her body changed. There was like this definite change. So where there's a theory that she was a man,
Did you hear her voice when she talked at the end? The crowd
but
went crazy.
I'm actually not on that. For me, I actually think that she may be transitioning, and I think that's what I think. If I had to put my money on something, I would say she was born a woman, and now she's transitioning. The reason being is before she was transitioning, she was 236 pounds, and she was fighting. And then she started transitioning, and then she started dropping weight because of testosterone, being able to build muscle, things of that nature. And then I think that she started to gain a competitive advantage over the women she was fighting. And this isn't something that is uncommon. You can look this up. There's a huge debate about this because it's more common in track and field. I brought this up. In track and field, there are transgendered women competing against cisgendered women. And what's happening is the transgendered women are winning these races. And then people are talking and saying it's not fair. And then the parents of the transgendered women are saying, well, could care less about a sport. I care about my child's well-being, and I want them to feel. And I can understand that position as well. But what people must take into account is there are athletic scholarships on the line. For the transgendered woman who feels good for winning the race, there's also the cisgendered woman who doesn't have the advantages that the transgendered women have, who lost a race that would have won had she been competing against cisgendered women across the board. So what do you tell that cisgendered person you're not good enough and forget your feelings? to make someone else feel good while winning a race. And so I just think that it does create this complicated scenario. What the NCAA does is they just remove, say, there's no such thing as transgender. There's no such thing as there's just men and women athletics in the NCAA. And to compete in women athletics, they test your testosterone levels and they test all this stuff. Your testosterone levels have to fall within a certain level, a certain amount, in order for you to compete in women's sports. That's how the NCAA does it. They don't care. They don't. Listen, you compete in women's sports, you can look like me, but your testosterone levels better fall in this certain level. And the problem even with the NCAA is the levels that they require transgendered athletes to fall within, transgendered women athletes to fall within, are still 3 times higher than the natural testosterone levels of a cisgendered woman.
And it doesn't factor in still bone density.
Exactly.
Because even
And
if I'm taking hormone suppressors or whatever, the mass alone, I could carry more muscle. I have a bigger heart. There's a number of advantages.
Unless you started doing it when you were
exactly like
pubescent. Exactly. You develop muscle as a young growing boy and your bone density, all that. And I don't know how about most people, but I started lifting weights when I was like 15, 16. So I was getting it in from a young age. So
and so, but that's kind of my original point. How can boxing and other, like sporting franchises, establishments, even Title IX, like for colleges and everything like that, how can you compete with this? Because it's too political now at this point.
I have the answer.
Go ahead.
Assumption of risk. Do all the testing up front. So say hypothetically this same fight, Franchon, Crews-Dezurn, Alejandra Jimenez.
Yeah, like you was just saying with the NCAA.
They tested her appropriately. They did a chromosome test. They tested her testosterone levels. They gave Franchon, Crews-Dezurn all the information before the fight was signed. They said, look, this is Alejandra Jimenez. She's transitioning into becoming a man. Here are her testosterone levels. They fall within the accepted amount for women's sports, right? However, they're still 3 times higher than yours, right?
So now it's up to you.
And exactly, do you want to take this fight?
But can Jimenez become a mandatory then?
Well, once again, yes, but
You
still,
said yes?
no. She can become a mandatory, but the champion would still have the right to decide whether or not they want to fight. Because we can't overlook the fact that there is a competitive advantage. We cannot overlook the fact. I feel like yes. So say that's the case, right? You want Alejandra Jimenez to fight Franchon, Crews-Dezurn. Get her numbers, get her testosterone levels, test to make sure that she's actually fighting a woman transitioning into being a man. Get all the information. Present Franchon, Crews-Dezurn with all the facts, right? And Franchon, Crews-Dezurn might still take that fight, but it's like, yo, I'm about to fight someone with 3 times the testosterone. I need 3 times the paycheck.
Facts.
Make it happen, but at least
I better not see no XY chromosome.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you see that, and you can make it public, and no one can fault you for that. No one. I refuse to fight someone who wasn't born. I refuse to fight anyone who wasn't cisgender. That's it. I'm only fighting cisgender women. That's it. Bang. Leave it at that. But no one can fault you for that. People can say whatever. No one can fault you for that. But get this information up front. Give it to the fighters up front. That way they can be fully compensated to decide if they want to take the risk. You sneak this up on them, you should get sued.
And fighters shouldn't have to be the ones to actually fork up the expense to get that tested. I feel like it literally should be the governing bodies that provide that information for all the fighters. It shouldn't have to be like the fighter, hey, you got to come up off a couple of $1,000s to get this information. It's just not fair, especially in the women's division of boxing.
I'm gonna close, and then you can close. If you have something else to say, you say. I would just say this: we've seen fights with men get canceled for less. Real talk. Like, I'm gonna give you some examples. We've seen Billy Joe Saunders first, Demetrius Andrade get canceled because he tested positive for a banned substance. That's in nasal spray. That's in nasal spray. The banned substance doesn't give him the power of Thor. It just helped him cut weight. Just helped him cut weight. Cancel. Fight, cancel. Why? Competitive advantage. Fight, cancel. In the men's boxing sport now. Mind you, I'm sure Demetrius Andrade would have still probably could have taken that fight, and he just took because he was overweight. He's not even in that division anymore. He's up. He moved up to 168. Why? Because he couldn't make that weight. He was just trying to make weight for the fight. He wasn't trying to kill Demetrius Andrade. He wasn't trying to beat him into a pulp. He was just trying to make weight on the scales, right? And so then you look at Anthony Joshua, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller was taking a cocktail of banned substances designed to make him go in the ring and bash Anthony Joshua. Beat him. Like, give him more power, give him more stamina, remove fat. That's something where a guy was taking some banned substance that were designed to really inflict pain on his opponent. And what happened? The fight was canceled. So we can do that for these fighters, right? And I bet you, even taking the testosterone and even taking the banned substances that Jarrell Big Baby Miller was taking, his testosterone levels still wouldn't have been 3 times the amount as Anthony Joshua's. Still, even on that. So what are we talking about here? For real.
Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And also check out our podcast on all major streaming services. It's the Boxing Bros.